Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
The star, Rachel Zegler, is unbelievably charmless in public.
She was, as woke as they are.
She just sounds bitter and angry.
I don't think they're gonna buy it. I don't think they're gonna watch it. I don't think they're gonna like it.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. They're just not stable human beings. I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
What if one smug actress managed to wreck a Disney classic before the first scene even played? That's exactly what went down with Disney's live-action Snow White. This remake was supposed to be a massive win, huge budget, iconic tale, and guaranteed box office gold. Instead, total disaster. And right at the center of it all, Rachel Zegler lighting the match and walking away like nothing happened.
Constantly say things that are like just atrocious because they're looking for attention and they can never have enough of it. They can never have enough of it.
This flop wasn't just about bad press or low ticket sales. It was about a leading lady who acted like she was above it all. From throwing shade at the original to sparking drama online, Zegler took a fairy tale and turned it into a PR nightmare. Fans didn't stand a chance. She was on a mission to stir things up, and wow, did she succeed. Disney thought they had their next sweetheart in the bag. But then, the backlash exploded online. Sure, she could sing, and yeah, she had that shiny newcomer energy. But the second her casting hit the internet, people went off.
Using Disney of inserting unnecessary feminism into classic fairy tales.
Not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. You know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
Snow White's supposed to be pale as snow, they shouted across every platform. Golden Globe or not, this was Disney. People wanted sweet and respectful, not attitude and arrogance. The signs were all there. She didn't just land the role, she stomped all over the original. By 2022, she was already doing press for the film, which was a total mess behind the scenes thanks to COVID delays and a fire that burned through millions. Any other star would have smiled and kept it classy, right? But not her. Rachel went full-on activist mode and started throwing punches at the original 1937 Snow White. You know, the film that made Disney a household name? She didn't just distance herself from the classic, she trashed it. She mocked the entire foundation of the story and even took jabs at the prince, saying he was basically a stalker. Fans were instantly fired up. Like, who does she think she is tearing apart the fairy tale that raised generations? Her energy screamed like she was above the whole thing, like the story wasn't worthy of her talent.
And be swept off of your feet and live happily ever after. No, you should want to be the prince. You should want to go out and fight the bad guys with a sword.
It's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign.
They have been making this film for a very long time because it's just been so scandalized. And so they had to basically put it on ice after people were firstly outraged by Rachel Zegler speaking ill about the prior film, the film that she was remaking. And it's such a weird thing for their whole pitch as feminists to be is like the best thing you can strive to be as a man. Everything will be great once we just act exactly like men. There's nothing special about being a woman. Let's just be men. It just doesn't feel like we're winning.
Prince or a different kind of prince?
I'm sure a lot of people will assume it's a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Who the hell are you to say all of Andrew's scenes could get cut? Like, who are you?
Oh my God.
Are you Disney? I've read your book, and I have. It's a phenomenal book. You're losing generation of loyal viewers. When you think about Snow White, what is the premise? What is the story?
It's a love story. It's a love story.
It's a dream for a girl to grow up and a man falls in love.
I'm really upset that it's the biggest theme here is that it's anti-men. She called him a stalker.
Instead of celebrating the magic, she bragged that they'd cut the romance and gave it some girl boss remix. But come on, Disney fans weren't here for some edgy lecture. They wanted fairy tale vibes, not a feminist TED Talk. The hate storm picked up fast, and "Not My Snow White" started trending hard. You could bet Disney's PR team was having a panic attack behind the scenes. Then came the Dwarfs. And oh man, that blew up everything. A Game of Thrones star snapped on a podcast, blasting Disney for what he called backward dwarf stuff. He went off. "It's 2022!" he raged. Just like that, Disney scrapped the 7 dwarfs and swapped them for CGI magical creatures.
She has to wear that dress. She should get paid for streaming for every hour she has to wear the dress. I mean, talk about biting the hand that feeds.
Of course, Zegler jumped into the chaos with a proud, preachy post like she personally fixed everything. She hyped it up like she was leading some major movement. But guess what? Actors with dwarfism weren't celebrating. They were furious. While Zegler was out here flexing, real performers were losing roles. One actor fired back online. "Peter's rich. We're not Peter Dinklage." The shade was real. Then the images dropped. CGI replacements that looked like knockoff toys from a bargain bin. Fans dragged them online, and actors called the change straight up disrespectful. But Zegler? She didn't flinch. She was too busy posing like some justice warrior while the whole project crumbled around her.
Then they got even crazier, and they decided that the dwarves in Snow White weren't woke enough, okay?
Are roles made for actors of my stature. I can't go out for the Harrison Ford or the George Clooney roles because that's not for me.
Right.
And now it's taken away. I don't feel that's right.
The dwarfs make it or no?
Well, the CGI dwarfs did. Of course, that goes back to the original controversy where Peter Dinklage, a very talented little person actor, said, "Why are we doing that? We've hired a Latina actress to be Snow White. That's progressive. But you're going to hire little people to play the dwarfs? That just seems like a step backwards." And then, of course, Disney instantly buckled and said, "Okay, we're going to add..."
Her whole "I know best" attitude didn't just stir the pot, it blew the whole kitchen up. Production was already in shambles. Delays, reshoots, and cash bleeding out like crazy. The magic? Gone. The fairy tale? Rotten to the core. And Zegler? She just kept talking like nothing was falling apart around her. Instead of helping clean up the mess, her loud mouth became Disney's biggest problem. Fast forward to 2024, Snow White was crawling toward its March 2025 release. She could have played it cool. Stayed quiet. But nope. Right after the US election, she went full meltdown mode on Instagram. She lashed out at Trump supporters, posting, "May you never know peace." Then added more heat with, "Burnt coffee, wet socks. Screw you all." Like, seriously? It was peak spoiled energy, and it hit the internet like a wildfire.
You're rich. We're not. We're trying to be extras, or, we're in Johnny Knoxville's Jackass if we're lucky. And so for them, they're like, you're not going to cast us to be inclusive and progressive. But these guys at Disney, they're not that bright. They're not that smart. And we see that because they can't come up with any new IP.
News anchors pounced. Megyn Kelly went in on her hard during a live segment. "This rude little punk needs to go," Kelly snapped. "Disney, fire her now!" That clip blew up. Millions watched it spread like digital gasoline. Boycott hashtags exploded on X, with fans saying they were done with the movie over her non-stop tantrums. Zegler tried to save face with some weak apology. "I got emotional. Oops." Cue the eye rolls. No one bought it. Not for a second. One brutal comment nailed it. Her stuck-up attitude is ruining the movie before it even drops. Word was spreading fast inside Hollywood, too. Disney wanted her out. Problem was, the cameras had already stopped rolling. She was locked in. A walking PR disaster. And things were only getting uglier from here. Behind the scenes, the tension was boiling over. Cast members were whispering, crew was fed up, and insiders claimed even Disney execs were scrambling for damage control. No one wanted to say it out loud, but the vibe was clear. Zegler had become a problem nobody knew how to fix.
I will love you through these 4 years as best I can. F Donald Trump. Yeah, totally stable thing for her to be posting, wishing harm upon Trump voters, wishing that we have no peace.
Then the promo tour hit. And wow, it was chaos. Instead of hyping up the movie, Zegler kept going off script, turning press interviews into mini soapbox rants. 1 minute she was shading the prince again. The next, she was saying the story wasn't relevant anymore. People were stunned. Like, why even do the film if you hate the original so much? Even worse, when asked what fans could expect, she laughed and said, "Not much singing. It's not that kind of movie anymore." Wait, what? A Snow White movie without singing? Fans were done. The backlash hit again, and this time it wasn't just online. It was everywhere. Toy merch started flopping. Tie-in deals fell apart. A major fast food brand even pulled their themed Happy Meal before launch. Too risky. Zegler's face on the posters? Quietly cropped smaller. She was still the lead, but Disney was clearly trying to shrink her spotlight without saying a word. And just when it seemed like things couldn't spiral further, another bomb dropped. An ex-crew member came forward, claiming she was impossible on set, late to shoots, clashing with directors, and even refusing wardrobe fittings. She acted like she was above all of us, the crew member said. Boom! Another headline. This wasn't just a PR issue anymore. It was a full-blown Hollywood nightmare. With the film's release getting closer, Disney tried to slap on a smile and fake the magic, but it was too late. The internet had already crowned Snow White the flop of the year before it even hit theaters. And the spotlight? Still stuck on Rachel Zegler's non-stop drama, not the movie itself. She kept digging the hole deeper, too. At a fan Q&A, someone asked what made her connect to the character. And her response? Honestly, I didn't. I just played it my way. That one line exploded across social media. People were like, how do you star in Snow White and say you don't even connect to Snow White? Behind closed doors, Disney insiders were panicking. Leaks started surfacing. Reports claimed test screenings were a disaster. Audiences walked out confused, saying the film felt like it was ashamed of being a fairy tale. Critics hadn't even seen it yet, and the buzz was already toxic. Meanwhile, Rachel was still out here acting like everything was cute, posting outfit selfies, captioning them Queen Energy. But fans weren't feeling it. They flooded the comments with clown emojis and "Not my queen" replies. It was savage. Then came the whisper of a potential reshoot without her. Insiders claimed Disney discussed doing limited reshoots and re-editing scenes to cut down her screen time. It wasn't confirmed, but just the rumor had people celebrating online. And while all this was blowing up, other Disney stars stayed real quiet. Nobody jumped in to defend her. Not one co-star. Not one Disney legend. Just silence. The message was loud. Rachel was on her own. As promo season hit full swing, Rachel was nowhere to be found at the big press events. Red carpets rolled out, cameras flashed, and guess what? No Zegler. Just her name floating in the background like a ghost no one wanted to mention. Disney didn't even try to explain. It was just silence. Fans noticed fast. Comment sections lit up. Where's the star? She hiding now? And some weren't shy, straight up saying, good, keep her off the stage. It was the first time a Disney lead basically vanished from their own campaign. The studio looked like it was trying to bury her without admitting it. Then, boom, another scandal dropped. An old video resurfaced of Zegler talking about how she never really liked Disney movies growing up. She even said she found the princesses annoying. That clip spread like wildfire. People were furious all over again. The same person trashing the classics was cast as the original princess. It was open season now. Former fans flipped hard, turning into the movie's biggest haters. Even casual viewers were turned off. Nobody wants to buy tickets to a fairy tale led by someone who seems to hate fairy tales. Meanwhile, Zegler's Instagram went dark. No new posts, no stories, no comments, total blackout. Rumors said Disney told her to go radio silent before she made things even worse. And honestly, it might have been the smartest move they made all year. But the damage was done. The girl who was supposed to lead a legacy film had become the face of one of Disney's biggest disasters. As the release date crept closer, insiders said Disney was begging media outlets to focus on the magic of the film instead of the mess around it. They even tried hyping up the costumes, the CGI, the diversity, but no one was buying it. All people wanted to talk about was Rachel Zegler, the chaos magnet. Even the film's trailer got roasted. When the official teaser finally dropped, fans didn't gasp. They cringed. The visuals looked off, the tone felt weird, and worst of all, Zegler's energy just didn't match Snow White. The comments section turned into a battlefield. This ain't Snow White! Is this a parody? Looks like a bad fan edit. Thousands of dislikes flooded in. Disney tried to spin it, claiming the film was a modern reimagining. But people were like, then why call it Snow White at all? The backlash got so loud, the trailer ended up being quietly unlisted on YouTube for a few days. Yeah, they actually tried to hide it. Then came the merch disaster. Stores reported low pre-orders. Toy aisles sat untouched. Even collector items weren't moving. A massive line of dolls and tie-ins meant to roll out before the movie, quietly scrapped. One industry insider spilled, "Retailers don't want anything to do with it. It's toxic." The buzz wasn't magical anymore. It was radioactive. And Rachel? Still nowhere to be seen. No press, no interviews, no red carpet moments. The face of the film had vanished, and the silence was louder than ever. Disney had banked on a fairy tale revival, but they got a pop culture train wreck. Disney went all in and got wrecked. March 21st, 2025 finally dropped, and Snow White crashed straight into the ground. Theaters were practically empty. The dream was dead. The trailers, snooze fest. The CGI, cheap looking. Zegler's performance? Stiff smile, zero charm, no spark. It opened at just $43 million in the US, on a budget that blew past $200 million. That's not just a flop, that's a full-blown financial disaster. Disney had prayed for a $150 million launch, banking on nostalgia and family crowds. But guess what? No kids in costumes, no buzz, just silence and empty theaters. Critics didn't hold back either. One brutal review called it a lifeless dud with no magic. Another slammed the Dwarfs, saying they looked like leftovers from a mobile game. Even the cast couldn't save it. Zegler's name was getting dragged harder than ever. Fans who did show up, most walked out disappointed. The vibe was too preachy. No heart, no wonder. Just lectures wrapped in glitter. The classic fairy tale? Totally gutted. And the merch? Forget it. Dwarf toys got dumped on clearance, still collecting dust. Zegler's constant rants, arrogant interviews, and over-the-top woke speeches, all of it turned people off. Disney thought the drama might boost sales. Instead, it burned the house down. And now, they're paying the price. Behind the scenes, the panic is real. Insiders say execs are spiraling, remake plans frozen, layoffs rumored, and marketing teams catching heat. One source spilled, they're rethinking everything. This one tanked the whole mood. With losses possibly topping $150 million, Disney's scrambling just to contain the damage. Zegler's reputation? Toast. One casting insider put it bluntly, she's talented, yeah, but she's a walking problem. No one wants the headache. Her brand is radioactive. Now Disney's dumping Snow White onto streaming to cut losses, but the internet isn't letting it go. The memes, the mockery, the drag sessions online, still going strong. Rachel Zegler didn't just play a princess, she wrecked the castle. And this nightmare? Far from over. With Snow White buried on streaming, Disney hoped the internet would move on. But nope, Social media kept dragging it like it dropped yesterday. Memes exploded. TikTokers reenacted Zegler's most cringy interviews, racking up millions of views. One viral soundbite of her saying, "I didn't even like the original," got remixed into parody songs. It was brutal. Even worse, Zegler started becoming the punchline in other fandoms. People joked, "At least our reboot isn't Snow White level bad." Her name became shorthand for flop energy. If a celeb messed up, the comments were quick. "You're pulling a Zegler!" That's how deep this went. Meanwhile, Hollywood kept its distance. Studios passed on her. Casting agents stopped calling. One insider claimed she was too hot to touch after the Disney fallout. And the roles she did land? Indie films with no budget, no buzz, and no big premieres. Then she tried a comeback. One moody black and white post on Instagram with a cryptic caption, "Sometimes fairy tales are fake." Fans didn't fall for it. They saw it for what it was, a last-ditch play for sympathy. The comments lit up. "Girl, you ruined the fairy tale. Nobody asked for your version." And the harshest? This isn't growth, it's damage control. While Disney tried to quietly move on to their next live-action project, everyone kept bringing Snow White back up as a warning. Internally, execs were reportedly locking down future scripts. No more reboots unless they're 100% safe. No drama, no risks. No more Rachel situations. She was supposed to be Disney's next princess icon. Instead, she became a cautionary tale. And the industry? It won't forget this one anytime soon. By summer 2025, the damage was undeniable. Snow White had become the blueprint for what not to do in Hollywood. Industry panels were name-dropping it like a warning label. One film exec flat out said during a podcast, "Studios can't afford another Zegler situation." That's how deep it cut. Behind closed doors, Disney was trying to scrub the mess clean. Marketing heads got shuffled. A few high-level execs resigned quietly. Internally, they rolled out strict new rules for stars doing press. No off-script interviews, no political rants, no trashing the classics. Zegler didn't just flop a movie, she changed studio policy. Meanwhile, Rachel was still trying to claw back into the spotlight. A leaked tip said her team pitched her for a major streaming series, but the platform passed instantly. "She's too polarizing," an insider shared. "We don't need that kind of noise." Her name had officially turned into a red flag. And the worst part? Other actors were feeling the ripple effect. Young stars with strong opinions suddenly found themselves getting benched. PR teams were locking down clients like never before. One rising actress even joked on livestream, "If I say the wrong thing, I'll get Zeglered." That line went viral. Even Zegler's fans started peeling off. They loved her talent, but the attitude? Not anymore. One ex-fan posted, "She had the world in her hands and threw it away for some clout." This wasn't just a career stumble, it was a full reputation crash. Rachel Zegler wasn't just out of the fairy tale, she was out of the conversation. And Hollywood had officially moved on without her. Oh, let's break it all the way down. Disney took a gamble on a cocky newcomer who clearly had zero love for the original. They handed her a crown, and she tossed it like it was trash. She ran her mouth, threw shade, acted like she was too good for it all. The attitude? Rude. The energy? Entitled. And the result? A beloved fairy tale turned into a full-blown circus. She trashed the classic, picked fights online, sparked controversy at every turn. The Dwarfs got booted for some weird glowing CGI blobs. And on top of that, there were whispers she even clashed with Gal Gadot during filming. Drama on screen and off. Then came the numbers. Brutal. The movie barely scraped together $87 million against a monster budget that passed $200 million. That's a box office nightmare. Zegler's career, hanging by a thread. Disney, burned and embarrassed. Millions down the drain, and a brand hit that's gonna sting for a long time. Fans have checked out. Some were mad about the casting, some about her attitude, but everyone agreed. This whole thing was a mess. Gal Gadot stayed silent, calm, unbothered. Meanwhile, Zegler became the joke of the year. Can she bounce back? Maybe, but it's gonna take a whole lot of silence and serious rebranding. Will Disney back off the remakes for good? Hard to say, but one thing's clear. This wasn't just a flop. It was a warning shot. This fairy tale didn't get a happy ending. It got canceled. If you made it this far, like, share, and subscribe for more breakdowns. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you tomorrow with another wild one.